You're listening to an episode recorded during the time Innovation Fuel was part of University Canada West. We are proud and grateful for the work we've done together, and we want to thank the university for being in our podcast. We are now excited to continue the journey of Innovation Fuel into its next chapter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Innovation Fuel, a business podcast by University Canada West.
Bringing you fantastic stories from accomplished entrepreneurs and key industry professionals. Let's explore the entrepreneurial world through local businesses and our university community. Hi, Kalari.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you?
I didn't have my breakfast yet.
What?
Yes, I don't have time.
You know breakfast is the most important meal of the day, don't you?
I know.
Didn't your mother not teach you that?
I actually teach my daughter this one and give her healthy, fresh breakfast. But yes, when it comes to me, I don't have time.
Well, you know something? I have a whole whack of respect for mothers because mothers are trying to do balancing the home life element as well as doing the jobs and everything elements. And where do you find time to get those healthy meals in there? Where do you find time?
Exactly. I mean, especially if you're on campus or in your workplace, you have a back-to-back meetings or work, you don't have much time to think about your food. And especially if you want to follow the healthy diet, to have a local, fresh, affordable food, or if you are vegetarian, you want to have more options. It's not always easy.
Yeah. And when you do find those options out there, Glory, the options are very stale. They're very the same over and over again. There's no real change to them. So there's no real motivation to try something and change your patterns to eating. I don't want to do that again. Do I have to do that again? And I think the other thing you talk about is the accessibility of it. And when you do find that great option, there's not a great option is not in the vicinity of where you're working. It's sometimes harder to get a hold of it because you got to leave the office, you got to leave the campus, you got to do something, and you might not have that time to do that. So I think we might have someone here today that might be able to help us with this challenge.
I think that our guest, Drew Munro, CEO, co-founder of Up Meals, can help us about accessibility to the healthy, fresh, affordable food. Now let's welcome Drew Munro.
We are so excited to learn all about Upmeal, I think is going to be what we're going to talk about a little bit, but we'd like to know a little bit more about you, Drew, first. And what brought you here? Where are you at in this stage? How did you come to Upmeal?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. Very happy to be here. A little bit about myself. I started my career as a professional chef. That's actually my background. I went to culinary school right here in Vancouver. And prior to launching Upmeals a couple of years ago, I actually ran one of the larger catering companies here in Vancouver for more than a decade. So my background is very much on the food side. And what we realized running a very traditional corporate catering style of business is that the ways that large companies fed their employees, the ways that people accessed healthy food was radically inefficient, and it was ripe for innovation. And so we came up with this idea for Upmeals that we launched a couple of years ago to use some amazing software and technology and also a hardware piece with our smart vending machines to make healthy food accessible 24/7. And that's really what Upmeals is all about.
Can you just a little bit explain about your product? Should I cook it at home or no? It's already.
So everything that Upmeals does is it's all about convenience. So we make ready-to-eat delicious meals that are all designed, made by real humans, real amazing chefs and nutritionists, but empowered by technology. So we use AI and we gather preferences from the environments that we service, so students or employees or customers, and we turn that into customized wellness solutions that are funneled through our production environment. They're also branded with customized CFI compliant labeling, with all the nutritional facts and allergens and all of the dietary information. That was a massive gap in how traditional caterers operated. If you've been through a buffet before, you see, it's a mushroom chicken, but you're not seeing exactly what's in it. So what happens normally is that, we'll get frantic calls from event organizers saying someone's deathly allergic to this. Is this in the food? So we've solved that problem using our technology with our labeling automation. And then what we really saw is a massive shift in how offices and how universities and how really work environments were evolving. People weren't working normal 9 to 5 hours anymore. They weren't working normal Monday to Friday hours. So accessibility became a challenge. So we developed our AI-powered smart vending machines, which are designed to serve beautiful, fresh, healthy food 24 hours a day. And we then figured out a way to deploy those in those environments, in universities and offices, even in residential buildings, to make our meal products accessible whenever they were needed. So Upmeals really started as a way to solve some of the pain points in corporate catering, and it's evolved into now this scalable smart vending platform that can service customers, employees, or students 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So the value on what you're offering is not, say, the food. It's the technology to figure out what ingredients to pull together to make healthier choices.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I always say in my, when I'm talking to people or presenting the company that, like, we could have all the amazing technology in the world. None of it matters if the food sucks. The food still has to be delicious. It has to be awesome and fresh and beautiful and unique. But what we're doing is essentially, using the technology to automate creative processes like R&D, label design, which are huge pain points and bottlenecks for most traditional catering companies or restaurants or ghost kitchens or meal delivery apps. And we're then able to produce that at scale. And then the accessibility piece is the awesome smart vending machines, which make those products accessible, which is another big challenge. The way that meal delivery companies operate is radically inefficient. A crazy stat, as we were preparing for our deployments of our smart vending machines at UBC, they shared with us that even during COVID, there were up to 2,000 to 3,000 trips by meal delivery apps up to UBC per day. So that's, delivering one pad thai bowl to one student and going all the way back down from UBC back to wherever they came from. So not only is that radically inefficient from a business perspective, it's also, terrible for the environment, the carbon emissions from a single vehicle going up and down for one meal. So we're not only able to service that need in a more efficient and cost-effective and safe way, we're able to make it accessible around the clock, where most options on campus or most options around, big offices will close at a certain time. Ours are available 24 hours a day.
Who is your target clients? What I heard mostly is about single people that they are working people. For example, it's not a very good thing for family. Am I right?
Well, for our smart vending platform that we're deploying, I mean, there's a wide range of uses. Where we're seeing the most early success with that platform is certainly on university campuses, and because there's just such a huge unmet need. If students are studying or working or doing any activities on campus after most of the facilities close, there's really no option for them to access healthy food without either leaving the campus or ordering from an expensive meal delivery app. So, bringing those safe, healthy, convenient options to the campuses, to the students, has been extremely well received and extremely successful. And that's the market we're planning to take on. But also there's opportunities in corporate environments for offices. There's opportunities in fitness-focused environments, 24-hour gyms, where it just makes total sense to finish your workout and get a great healthy meal. And I think what you're referencing too is we also have a way to reach customers at home. So Upmeals has its own direct-to-consumer e-commerce platform. So we're actually shipping healthy curated meal subscription boxes directly to individual consumers all across Canada. And that's leveraging that same technology. So users are able to input their preferences, their goals, their dietary restrictions, and our system will curate a meal plan for them based on those preferences. So, and to answer your question, we serve meal plans ranging from 2 to 5 days. Users can actually have multiple subscriptions for different members in their household whom, not everybody eats the same thing, right? So some people might be on a plant-based diet. Some people might want, all the meat and all the things. And so that's possible using our platform under the same account. So that's how we address it for individual consumers.
Brilliant, my friend. Brilliant. Customization, personalization to the max.
And it's such one of the things that COVID has accelerated is that, consumers are expecting food to be pretty much instantly accessible to them, right? And that's been accelerated by COVID. And they're even expecting now that those meals or those products are going to be in some way personalized or customized to their preferences or goals. That's actually becoming an expectation of the consumer. Build your own and customize your own. These are things that consumers expect and want. So, in our experience, that whoever succeeds at that in that space and does the best job at that wins, right? And wins that customer. Because as I'm sure you know, if you're ordering from the same set menu and set products, you get bored pretty quickly. It's what chefs call menu fatigue. So you tire and you got to keep things fresh. So having a platform that makes that process automated is what we feel is our biggest advantage to not only us operationally, but also to the user who's getting a great experience.
Okay, can you a little bit explain about how your vending machine is working? So is it name of the meal that I have to choose, or ingredients, or how does it work at all?
Yeah, so it's a refrigerated machine designed to serve fresh food. Think of it, the easiest way to describe it is think of a 4-foot tall iPhone strapped to the front of an awesome, beautiful, sleek vending machine. And so you are navigating an experience very similar to what you're probably used to on like a meal delivery app or any sort of platform that you're used to using. And you're able to, click into an item, say a healthy, beautiful entree bowl. You're able to view beautiful photos, view all the caloric information, the macronutritional information at a glance before you purchase it, all of the ingredients, all of the common allergens, and browse that experience just like you're browsing on a website or a retail store. But it's a vending machine. And if you want any of those items, you're able to simply, tap a card for payment and it's dispensed in 8 seconds or less. So, you're getting that convenience. The thing that's really important that, when we were going through the processes of getting our solution approved by all the health regulatories is that, it's a sealed, secured environment. Even when you're shopping at a grocery store or a cafe, you don't know how many people have picked up that salad bowl before you're going to go and buy it, right? And this is a sealed, secured environment. It's dispensed just for you, and no one else can access or physically touch those products until it's dispensed to you. So, from a safety perspective, from an information perspective, and from a convenience perspective, our solution really is unmatched in terms of what else is available in the market.
But these are all pre-packaged meals that are in these vending machines. Is the element, and I don't know, Drew, where you're planning to go with it, but are you able to leverage the data of customers are coming to using this element to get closer back to your AI element, meaning getting back to how do I get even that more of that customization, personalization back into those machines?
Yeah, exactly. It's a really important point, Dave, because that's what makes the technology and the hardware is awesome, and it's a great experience. But what really makes Upmeals unique about what we're doing is leveraging the data. We're collecting that through those interfaces. So in a normal vending machine world, your chips and your pop, you're getting a very little boring CSV spreadsheet at the end of the day that says, hey, you sold 22 bags of Doritos, right? And you're going, okay, like, cool, maybe I'll sell more Doritos tomorrow, right? With ours, because it's our own cloud computing module connecting directly to our software, we're getting every single possible touch point. So not only what people bought, but what they viewed and didn't buy, or what they're spending time browsing, just like you would be tracking for a website or an analytics platform. We're then able to use that data to drive the decision-making on future product iterations, optimal stocking times, optimal product configurations. I'll give you a real use case that's a very high level. At UBC, we were realizing that students were responding at a certain time of day, and we were absolutely selling out of all of our wraps. We make these beautiful, healthy, fresh, sandwich wraps that the students went crazy for. So we said, okay, this is an unmet need. We have a market opportunity. We need more wraps. We plugged that into our automation software. Within a week, had developed 4 to 5 brand new wrap concepts that met the needs of the popular items, funneled that through our labeling automation, funneled that through our production environment, and they were in the machines within 7 days, right? So we're able to be really agile in terms of how we respond to it. So from the user perspective, that if you're responding to certain items, the products in that machine are actually tailored to your preferences and to what you're purchasing. You can almost think of it kind of like how it's like Netflix on a vending machine, like when you are responding to products, when customers are interacting, it's displaying customized information and products based on what's performing well in that machine.
That is fantastic, but you need partnership, right? You need a partnership for your vending machine, or do you just rent them?
That's where a lot of the back end work happened over the last 2 years building this platform. So, there's a number of components that we have sourced and compiled into a unique combination of hardware and technologies that is unique to Upmeals. So, those are assembled for us in sort of an OEM relationship by the distributor. So the parts are compiled, they're assembled, and we place a single order for a complete unit. And then from Upmeals' end, once that machine is ready to be installed, we connect it to our cloud app, and we push the interface and set it up for that specific environment, which then connects to kind of the main software hub. So for us, that's really when you're building anything that has a hardware component, getting that rock solid is really super important. We leveraged a lot of North American suppliers for a lot of our core components, which has allowed us to largely circumnavigate a lot of the supply chain issues, especially from overseas, a lot of the shortages. And it also allows us to be really confident in scaling our platform. Anytime you're building something completely custom from an engineering level and outsourcing from overseas, you reach a point where maybe suddenly that factory says, okay, well, sorry, we can't do any more for you. Or, hey, I need 1,000 machines, but there's no way we can make that. And your business is completely, cut off at the knees. So for us, we made sure to leverage really high volume, strong, reputable suppliers for the base components. And then we've leveraged our software to make them smart and connect them and make them Upmeals, essentially.
How do you make your end users, the place that you rent your machine, is that how you make them loyal?
So the model that Upmeals has is Upmeals actually owns the hardware. So those smart vending machines are Upmeals assets. And the reason for that is that allows us full control of the experience and the product. And we don't want our partners, our universities, our corporate partners that we have these machines installed in to really be feeling like they're taking on a brand new business that they have to manage. That's really what we've leveraged the software and the technology to do on ourselves. So we want it to feel like a partnership with the environment where, in the example of a university, this is adding tremendous value for the students. It's solving a massive pain point for a university and making sure that students have access to healthy food whenever they need it at an affordable price. So that's the partnership level we're leveraging there. And we're also then, we really engage with a lot of the marketing teams for the UBC and SFU to make sure that we're coming out together and helping it be successful together. But Upmeals owns the platform. We own the technology, and every machine we install is an Upmeals machine that we own and manage ourselves.
And Drew, can you leverage, like, from this collection of data that you're gaining and elements, can you leverage like GPS software and things like that to help future customers find your machines when you start to get to that loyalty element?
Absolutely. So in our roadmap now that Upmeals is growing our network of machines, we're really having clarity on which segments to target as the university segments open up and corporate segments open up. So we are currently building our own mobile application, which will have all of those functions, which we're very excited for. So, that's going to be, leveraging the technology to find machines near you. If you can believe it, we'll be able to actually have users select a machine that's near them or favorite a machine that's on their campus they use. They can actually view the real-time inventory of that machine and actually reserve and order products, right? So then you walk up to a machine, you're not worried, if you're in an office of, Bob from accounting, like sniping that last good salad bowl from you. It's there, it's reserved for you. And then you walk up and you scan a code and the machine, it'll know that you've paid for it and dispense the item. So those are sort of the functionalities, which then allow us to do things like loyalty points and rewards, pushing notifications. Hey, we've got these new products in your favorite machine, go check it out. So it allows us to engage with the users in a really more meaningful way now that we're growing our network of machines.
Well, doesn't it also lead towards, and I don't know if you thought about this element, but it also leads towards the gamification of it. Like, all of a sudden, you start to pin other machines against each other. Which one has the better selection today? And you start running around trying to find, hey, I'm going to beat you to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it leverages what Upmeals does really well, because one of the cool things about our platform is that each machine actually is a little bit different in terms of what's stocked because of the data collection. So even the machines at the same campus, we have 2 machines at UBC, 2 machines at SFU as an example. The machine product mix-up is actually, it's slightly different. And that's because the data is telling us different things that students in those different locations are responding to different products. So that's really cool. And now as a student, if you want to know where am I going, right, to get the meal that I want, you have that access at your fingertips, which is really awesome.
It is a fantastic business model, I guess. And what is your necessary activities? What are they for day to day?
We have a few key elements of our business. So, one of the main differences that separates us from other vending operators who largely are stocking third-party items, pop and chips and sodas and whatever else, is we actually make the vast majority of the products. So there's a production element. We have a fully HACCP certified production facility. HACCP is the highest level of food safety attainable. It's like what a hospital or a large commercial manufacturing would use with the hairnets and the full garb. You've probably seen the pictures. It's not a restaurant kitchen or a ghost kitchen. It's at a higher level of safety, which is required for us to sell our food into these large commercial environments. And so that's one critical activity, is the production, which we run. It's a 24-hour a day operation. We run our production at night, and we run our prep and packaging and pick and pack during the day. We also have our logistics and our operations. So Upmeals actually services all of the machines and all of our other clients with our own vehicles, our own team, our own driver. And then, of course, we have our other administrative duties. So we have our own marketing and sales teams and all the office and administrative duties of running the company. But those are the three core elements for us.
Do you see an opportunity, Drew, to move more? Like you were in the catering business before. Do you see an opportunity to scaling out to support other business, like a B2B model where you're supporting coffee shops and small business elements where they don't have the facilities to deliver this kind of element, but still want to deliver that type of service?
Yeah, and actually, Dave, that's how Upmeal started. Before we even had the smart vending element fully fleshed out, we actually started doing kind of leveraging the early stages of our technology, doing custom products for retail brands, for offices. So, if you visited any of the 15 like Body Energy locations around town, most of those products that are served in those stores are Upmeal's designed products that have been leveraged through our technology. So we service some big players like Body Energy, Spud, and Fresh Prep, and some of the big players. And they don't have, as you said, they don't have the capacity or the wherewithal to deploy their own fresh food production environment. So we're giving them the ability to sell a product to their customers using our system. So we are doing that. And what we're actually really excited for now that offices are starting to open up is we've actually built out sort of a modern office catering hybrid that we can deploy as sort of a corporate catering replacement. So, this is outside of the realm of the smart vending. But if you're working at an office environment, you're getting, again, that beautiful customized experience. You're getting a fully compliant, CFI compliant meal. It's an individually packaged meal and sustainable packaging. So you're able to get a great experience that's safe, that's modern, and that's ready whenever you need it. And we're actually quite excited about the potential of that vertical in our business.
That is fantastic. What are the most important costs that you have?
Well, any food operation, I mean, your two big ones are always food cost and labor. So we are quite efficient in the sense of how we've built our model is more akin to a production line model versus a traditional restaurant or catering model. And we view that as we have large quantities of products being produced in a single run, which is more efficient than running, let's use a ghost kitchen as a model where you got all this prepped components ready and you're waiting for that little tablet to beep at you to make that one bowl. You're not exactly sure how much you're going to be selling that day. It depends on how many orders come in. With us, we're only producing based on actual orders that are created in our system. So we're able to more accurately forecast and manage the production environment. So, and then again, on the food cost side, again, it's always something that needs to be managed extremely closely. One of the most important functions of our custom software that we built is the ability to use dynamic supplier pricing. So we're actually leveraging an EDI and a data interface with a large vendor like a GFS or a Cisco. So we're talking to their platform and pulling dynamic pricing. So if, for example, the price of cauliflower quadruples because of some situation that's happening in where that product is being grown, we're able to see that, respond to that, and modify products accordingly to keep our costs in line.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful, Drew. And I think probably in that kind of modeling, you probably are able to create more of a sustainable food source element and reduce the amount of waste that's happening in order to meet the market need.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, Dave, that drove me absolutely nuts about running my previous business in catering was the sheer amount of food waste that is generated at a large catered event, a traditional event that you've probably all been to a million times with, passed around canapes and buffets and just food out, right? Because you really think about it, it's like, what is every caterer's worst nightmare? And it's running out of food, right? So like you run out of food and suddenly like your reputation's gone, everyone's angry, everyone's upset, table 6 didn't get beef and table 7 didn't get desserts. So you bring more than you need. And that's the problem with that model is that once the food is out and set up, you can't do anything with it. It's been out, it's been exposed to air, to people filing through. So the food bank won't take it, you can't donate it. And essentially about 20 to 25% of all the food that is served at every event is literally thrown in the garbage, right? Like dumped in the garbage. So, and again, like this is an ugly part of the events industry, the catering industry that, it's not really talked about, but it happens. So literally at the end of events, there are people that come in and clean up and go back to the kitchen and literally are scraping hundreds of pounds of food literally into the garbage, right? And so this just drove me nuts. And, I called around for months and months and years trying to find a source for this, and no one would take it because it's not safe. And so with Up Meals, because everything is individually packaged, it's sealed, it's safe, it's served to one person, we're able to repurpose any surplus products from our operation, unsold meals from our smart vending machines, instantly in the same day through partnerships. So we use a great company called Vancouver Food Runners, which is a fantastic not-for-profit here in the local city. So they actually will come and collect 4 times a week any surplus products from our kitchen. These are like unsold meals or surpluses in production, and repurpose those instantly to local charities and groups that are in need. So truly, it's a zero food waste operation that we run.
So with that in mind, do you see that being the future for this element? Do you see more of this element instead of, as you said, the large events elements? Do you see more of this element of like, let's package it so that if it's not sold, it still can be distributed elsewhere?
I hope so is the answer to that. I hope that is the way that we go. Everybody got really used to eating out of containers in the last 2 years, right? And ordering from meal delivery apps. So like even the idea now, and I know things are opening up, which is great and fantastic, but even the idea now of, like crowding around a buffet with 100 people and sharing utensils, it kind of weirds me out, right? And it was always kind of like, why did we do that in the first place? And it's still not going to be a thing for the foreseeable future, maybe ever. A lot of these large, cafeteria style operations that these companies were running are actually permanently shutting down. And they're shifting their operations to either a grab and go model, a micro market sort of a model, or a vending model. So, there's a really unique position there where, we can add value for these companies and for these groups. And that's really what we're trying to do with Up Meals, is to add value and add safety at the same time.
So Drew, going on this journey and even into COVID times, what kind of challenges has Up Meals faced throughout?
Yeah, I think it's a really important question. I think, one of the comments I get often is like, oh, it's in a vending machine. Like you guys are a COVID business. Like you guys must be killing it, right? But like when you really think of it, we've enjoyed some success, but the platform that we built, like my experience was in corporate catering, right? And we knew, and we still obviously still believe that this is going to be just the future of how companies are going to feed their employees. And then what were the first things to shut down at the start of COVID, right? Everybody worked from home. So none of the off. So we built this platform, and within a few months, your target demographic is completely wiped out, right? So and so that was a significant challenge. So we continued building the app. We started to service these large B2B contracts in the home delivery and grocery delivery space, which turned out to be a great vertical for us. We explored new avenues for the smart vending. We installed in residential condo buildings because we figured, hey, everybody's working from home. Let's go to the home, right? And give them an awesome option. And then as universities and places opened up, we went back full steam ahead on installing those deployments, which have been very successful. So, there were some significant challenges, both operationally and also with, our marketing strategy that were impacted by COVID. And thankfully, those are starting to be lessened now that we're coming and opening up.
So what do you see the future challenges being for your business, and what do you think the opportunities are?
I think the future challenges for us, I mean, we always envisioned Up Meals being a global company. One of the things for me personally that I felt I loved the creative element of running a catering business, but catering is so localized. It's a highly fragmented market. There's 70% of the operators are running $5 million or less revenue companies. And there's no way you can take a catering company, pick it up from Vancouver and drop it somewhere else in, say, Chicago and have it be a huge success. It's dependent on the local infrastructure. So for us, we wanted to build a platform that could be a global company. And those are going to be the biggest challenges as we start to operate. Is we're having success here in Vancouver. We're having success here in BC. If we wanted to have a smart vending machine in every university campus in North America, and really when you think of it, why shouldn't there be? How would we execute that? And how would we be able to maintain that Up Meals level of quality that we're known for here? So those are the big challenges that we're executing on as a team, that we're strategizing on as a team. And I think those would be fun challenges for perhaps the students that are listening to this podcast to give us their thoughts and their ideas on too.
I absolutely love it. It's perfectly timed, my friend. That is exactly what we wanted to get to as a challenge for the students. Absolutely brilliant. This is exactly the kind of challenges that we want to throw in front of our students. Let's get some value back to you and value back over to them for them to throw some ideas at you. Drew, it's absolutely been a brilliant conversation here. And would love to continue having this conversation and maybe come back and talk about some other things around the sustainability and food waste. I think that could be a very interesting topic in the future. And we need to get an Up Meal vending machine in our UCW campus. We're putting the message out there. We'll figure out how we get that happening to let these students try these delicious meals. Thank you again, Drew, for your time today. This has been another episode of Innovation Fuel.
Thank you for listening to Innovation Fuel. We are on all podcast streaming platforms, Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Visit our website at www.ucanwest.ca/Innovation Fuel. Also, follow us on Instagram at innovation_fuel.